Our next speaker is TK O'Geary. TK is known as the geek who speaks. She's a corporate consultant and personal performance coach. She lives at the corner of connection and curiosity. An expert in her field, TK has been recognized by the Departments of Energy and Defense, state governments, and healthcare organizations, private businesses, and more. Let's welcome TK. Woo!
At 12 years old, for Christmas, I got 2 hamsters, Puddin' and Pumpkin. Now, I loved animals, from the small baby birds, like the injured one that I snuck into my bedroom to try and nurse back to health, to horses and cattle. So when it was time to go off to college, it was no shock that that's when I decided, yes, it's been in my life, I'm going to enroll in large animal pre-veterinary medicine. Off to college I went, and in the second year, I was standing with the animal husbandry class outside the abattoir, the slaughterhouse. Yes, we judged on the hoof and on the rack. You can tell a lot about a body when it's uncovered. I was noticing, as I looked around, only 2 of us were female. Normally that doesn't cause me any challenges or problems or issues, but for some reason that day, it felt different. I thought, okay, well, all right, that's what it is. And then I noticed everybody's shoes. Nope, they were boots. Every single person had on boots. They had looked like they had been through the dirt, the mud, been around the hay, maybe even, birthing a cow or something. It was well worn for every single one of these pairs of boots. And they were around well-worn jeans. The boots looked like they had 4, 5, 6 years on them. Mine, also boots. 2 years old, looked like they just came out of the box compared to theirs. And I'm thinking to myself, do I fit in? Am I supposed to be here? Shook it off, went into class. The next semester, I was so excited. I had data. I go running back to the dorm, and I pulled out my spreadsheet. Paper, about 2 feet by 3 feet. I had the last pieces of information. I had been collecting information on graduate school for veterinary medicine. How many people applied? What were their majors? What were their backgrounds? What were the genders? What kind of finances? How many times did people apply? All of this information. And then I also had mine, the grades, the finances. Did I have experience with large animals? Yeah, hamsters. Mom wanted a dog. Okay, I didn't have that, but I had so much more. And I was ready to run the calculations. Could I get into graduate school? And if so, how long would it take? I ran with my Hewlett-Packard reverse calculator. Probability, what do you think? No. What? Yes, there was a probability I could get into college for veterinary medicine. How long would it take? Oh, okay, great. Same number. What? 8.34 years? 8.34 years. Something must be wrong. For the entire week, I sat there and stewed about the numbers. What was it I might be able to change? Is there something I could add to my curriculum? Is there something that I could get experience with? What could I do to change these numbers? There must be a calculation that was wrong. I spent so much time that week focusing on this spreadsheet. My entomology project did not get attention. Entomology is what? Bugs! Bugs were okay. I had no problem with bugs, but this was just like big, and I just turned in that project. Yeah, no shock. Got the project back. Got a D. I had never gotten a D in my life. Never. But I didn't do the work. My dad and I would talk on the phone frequently. I was at college out of state, and the next time we talked, I was like, Dad, 8.34 years, bugs, and when are you coming home, hon? We planned a date, 6-hour drive back to Albuquerque, and I met Stan. Stan was the analyst that worked with my father at the Air Force Base. After dinner, Stan and I went over my spreadsheet. 2-3 hours went by. It seemed like that. Calculations? Fine. He kept saying, well, this is interesting. Okay, yeah, that's fine. This is good. Oh, what a clever way of looking at that. Do you know that you could make a living doing this? Okay, but what is going over here? And I kept looking back at the paper, and he kept repeating what he was saying. You could make a living at this. This is clever. You could make a living at this. This is good. You could make a living at this. Yes, I'm blonde, for real. And I stepped back. I can make a living at this? You mean people will get paid to do this? You have a knack of looking at data. So I changed my major, changed states, changed colleges. I'm not a vet today. Yes, I still love animals, and yes, I still want to sneak a baby bird into the bedroom, but I'm not a vet. I am doing what I do really, really, really well. I help leaders, experts, and enthusiasts find out where to focus, understand the drivers of performance, and boost their ability to connect with others. Because whether you are leading a team, are part of a team, or you are your own team, you need to understand this information, right? It's understanding data and information and process and walking through and talking to people and figuring out all of this kind of mega data, which you could tell I loved, right? 2 feet, 3 feet. Remember the paper? Now it's all on computers. I have been able to help organizations increase quality, deliver better services, comply with regulations, plan and manage their risks. Huge differences in the organizations that protect our lives and our borders, take care of our people. It's exciting. Would you like to know how? I'm going to share with you 3 principles that I've learned in helping organizations, some around the world, most of them in the United States. And it all starts with connection and curiosity. I see you. I see you. I see you. Have you ever been on a team or worked in a place where you felt you were not seen? People didn't say hello. The boss didn't even ask about you. It's kind of lonely and frustrating, right? So I see you is also an acronym that represents the 3 points. It's I, the letter C, and you. I is for it's possible. When you understand what you are wanting to do, the drivers of what is there to make that happen, you as a leader, a team member, or as your own self, you need to believe that it's possible. Is it possible to achieve anything great without having at least a nugget of belief that you can do it? Yeah. So it's possible is also how I sign my emails, because you can make the impossible happen. I admit, I was younger than most of the people that I worked with. I was naive and had no idea just how difficult some of the places I was supporting as a consultant, how difficult it really was. So when somebody assigned something to me, they were usually my parents' age, sometimes my grandparents' age. And what do you two, the youth in this audience, do you ever say, I am going to do a really bad job? No, right? You're going to say, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity. I'm going to do this really well. Not knowing that it might be impossible in the minds of several people. In fact, it got to be where someone would say, oh, this is, I don't think we can do this. Where's TK? And because I didn't know enough to be putting up walls, I did it. And I kept doing it over and over again. And then I started realizing how difficult it was. But then I had history. I encourage all of you to think about how to say it's possible. And you can make miracles happen. C. C is all about curiosity. Do you understand the drivers of performance? Do you understand what you should be looking at? A lot of people measure the outcome. And that's fine. That means everything's already happened. But what is it that drives you to that performance? A lot of organizations that I've worked with have to write goofed up reports, you know? There's official terms for them in every industry, but it's basically you didn't do well in the 100% category, you have errors, and what are you going to do to fix it? With the pandemic, along with many other activities that happen in our life and in our world, there are times when the government or leadership will say, you don't have to do this step or this procedure, or during the pandemic, this interview, and somebody goes ahead and gets whatever it is. Oftentimes, it's benefits. You can also do this from a risk mitigation perspective. I was working with the year 2000 issues with computers that didn't have great calculations if they didn't have a 4-digit date, which meant mothers may not be able to buy milk for their children, or you might leave someone in a home that is a danger to a child, or worse, take someone out who is perfectly fine. So we, in advance of the year 2000 rollover, took care of making sure everybody had food stamps, were able to buy milk for their children. And were some of those incorrect? Yes. So that meant when somebody went through and did the quality assurance, some of it was wrong. Do you know what the first response is when someone finds an error? What the corrective action is? Any ideas?
Blame.
What is it?
Blame.
Blame. Oh, that's a good one. Blame is a good one. All right, say you're a leader. What would you write in this report to the federal government that says, what are you going to do, leader? You'd like to blame them, yes. What else do you do?
Get defensive.
Get defensive, okay, but you still have to write your report. What do you say?
Make
My
excuses.
action, huh?
Excuses.
Make excuses. I love you. You guys should be on some of the teams that I've worked on. You have to write back to the federal government for them to check on what you're doing to make a difference in that number that's not right. And that corrective action, first time, over half of all the consulting engagements I had was we're going to do remedial training.
Oh.
If the management said you don't have to do an interview, if your risk management plan says we're going to give out food stamps so that babies don't go hungry, remedial training is going to do what? Nothing. So understanding, being curious about the right actions to take is so important. And the last one is you. Understand yourself and others. Treat people like people. There's a lot of personality types out there, tests to take, exams, etc. I encourage you, if you're on a team, take those. Have other people on the team take it as well. Because when we are our most irritating to others, we are living in our own type. My husband and I had been married for 7 years, and I was teaching a class at school. There was a group grade for the students, and this class, for some reason, the groups weren't getting it together. I figured, let's do a Myers-Briggs. I've done it before. Gave the test to my husband first, right? Because you practice with your spouse and loved ones. I did this with my husband. There's one on the Myers-Briggs elements. One of the parts is, are you a planner or are you an in-the-moment person? I am a planner. Who is a planner in this room on vacations, knowing how much they're going to spend each day, what they're going to wear, and the good days to go to the market and where the restaurant deals are? Me! So I asked my husband, I'm going to split people up, they're going to plan a vacation. How would you plan a vacation? My husband, the Navy guy, said, gas up the car, get some cash, stop at the house, pick up some underwear and a toothbrush, and drive to the beach. After he heard about my story, he stopped it. He was like, stop it! What are you doing? Planning a vacation. Like that? It took 7 years for us to understand, and a class that I was teaching, for us to realize, and I'm not going to use the Navy term that he used, he thought I was trying to anger him. If you think about believing it's possible, being curious about the drivers, and understanding yourself and others, then you'll have time to go sneak a bird into the bedroom, play with your children and their pets, and enjoy life and achieve greater success.